Awesome. Hello, hello.
Hey there.
Welcome to RamGoatAstrology. And today we're chatting about the spring equinox coming up.
Yeah, or ostara, as
How
the
do you
pagans say.
say it again?
Ostara, or
Ostara.
it's Ostara.
Interesting.
Ostara.
How do you say it in
I
in Swedish?
think I would say ostara.
Okay. All right. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Awesome. Yeah, we wanted to chat about this because it's so interesting how heavy everybody is, all the planets are on one part of the chart. So I pulled up a chart for the spring equinox when it happens for me in Wisconsin. And holy man, there is a lot on just one side of the chart. So that's going to be an intensely strong energy between
Mm.
Pisces and Aries here. Whew.
And just to sort of explain what the spring equinox is, what it means
Mhm.
is that now in the northern hemisphere, the the night and the daytime is exactly equal long, because now in the northern hemisphere it's super, like, the nights are super long, but at spring equinox the day is as long as the night,
Yeah.
and we
Isn't it
celebrate
so
that.
nice?
Yeah.
It's so nice. I actually was just sitting in my chair the other day and where I sit and rock and hang out with the kids and whatnot. And I was watching the sunset over the trees. And just a month ago, it was way off to the left. And now it's starting to move more to the right. And then when we garden, it's way off in the right side of the sky, in the west. But it's so funny how different it shifts and how much space there is between the sun setting in winter versus in summer. So now it's getting, definitely, I can see it's happening right in the middle of our kind of our sunset range of our country view property. We can see it. So it was nice. I got excited. I'm like, ooh, the sun's moving further over. So that it just gets me excited.
I know, it's the same over here. Like today I was like, oh, it's still light outside, and it's not even 5. I mean, it's already
Yeah.
5 o'clock at night. And like a
No.
few weeks ago it would be pitch black at this time.
Yeah. It's amazing how much I can see people's moods shifting here. And, even though it's snowing and we're getting snowstorm after snowstorm, which is fine, but the sun really, it doesn't matter if there's snow out, the sun has such an impact on everybody's moods. So I know mine for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But this day is like a huge celebration for some people. I know a lot of like witches celebrate this day,
Yeah.
the return of the light, uh, welcoming the fire with Aries. Aries is a
Yeah.
fire sign.
The
So
renewal energy, that Aries energy of excitement and joy and starting new things and just taking off and doing new adventures and all of that fun fire energy after we go through this time of Pisces healing.
yeah.
The Pisces is very introspective and really, quiet time and going internal. And then Aries comes out with a bang.
Yeah,
I'm
and you could
here.
almost, I am here. And you could also say that this is sort of like a New Year celebration as well, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people see this as some sort of like, this is the new year. This is when the year begins,
I agree.
when Aries season starts.
I agree. Yeah. I'm not sure who in the calendar system decided that January 1st should be the new year, but that doesn't make sense.
No.
Like, where did you get that from? I don't understand.
That
But yeah,
person
I
has also
agree.
seen the astrology wheel.
Right? I do feel like this is the actual new year. Like, this is when just the energies are renewed. Everything about life gets renewed, and there's so much more hope, and there's so much more just fiery energy. So I think it'd be a great time to shift from January 1st to March 20th for New Year's. Let's do that.
Yeah.
We'll make a new New Year's celebration.
It's decided.
And so it is.
Well, because we wanted to talk about this day also because there is a lot of, like you said, a lot of concentrated energy in the sky
It's a
at this
lot.
day.
It's a lot. And this
So,
year we've got, well, first of all, we'll start in Pisces. So Saturn will be at 1 degree Pisces. 1 degree Pisces. The moon will be at 20 degrees Pisces. Neptune will be at 25 degrees Pisces. So we'll have a stellium in Pisces. And then in Aries, we will have the sun at 0. Mercury will be at 3 degrees. Chiron will be at 14. Jupiter will be at 16. That's a lot of energy. And then in Taurus, we'll have a Venus and North Node conjunction at 4 degrees Taurus. And then, of course, our friend Uranus is still hanging out there. And he'll be at 16 degrees Taurus. So there is a lot of Pisces, Aries, Taurus energy going on. The only two that aren't there is Pluto, and Mars will be over hanging out in Gemini, square to everything in Pisces. Thanks, Mars. Got to stir up the pot once in a while, you know.
Yeah. Wow. So a lot of fire energy when we move into fire season.
Yeah, a lot. A lot. So how would we interpret that for people on this equinox? How could they use this energy to the best of their abilities to really move them forward in a healthy way?
I think that the first thing I'm looking at with this this spring equinox chart is the Chiron and the Jupiter conjunction.
Yeah.
Which is just 2 degrees apart. So I feel like we are starting this witch's new year, new year with like a lot of focus on our wounds, a lot of focus on our early childhood sort of wounds, and they get just magnified by this Jupiter
For sure.
magnifying glass. And with this like optimistic and very vital energy from Aries, I feel like we have a lot of energy to deal with that. And then we also have all of the Pisces planets. So, for example, with the moon, so we're able to, with the moon in Pisces, to really feel into all of the different realms and probably heal these things. I think that looks really exciting.
Right?
Yeah,
I agree.
But also really hard and triggering.
Well, exactly. So I'm a person who has been on this planet long enough and gone through enough physical, emotional, mental pain to recognize that I do really crave healing. However, and it hurts. It doesn't feel good. And we've talked about this before. So I embrace the healing energy because I know what's on the other side. But and it sucks sometimes too. So I'm excited about it. Like you said, it's exciting. It is exciting to really learn how to use the energy appropriately. Learn and understand that this is an amazing time for healing and moving forward and taking action within your healing, right? That you got to have that Aries energy. When you've got that Jupiter conjunction with Chiron, I mean, that's a big deal. And this is going to bring a lot of different energy to different people, depending on what your wound is, right? Because Chiron is that healer. He definitely has the wound, but he learned how to heal the wound and then helps heal others. And Jupiter is so benevolent and amazing and expansive and brings just really good things to everything it touches and everything it's involved in. So I think these two together in Aries are really going to help people take that proper action to do the right healing that they particular need, whether that's hiring a therapist or whether that's doing sound therapy or whether that's, doing an astrology reading, whatever it works for you, going out and setting up a schedule where you walk in the woods every day or going to yoga classes, right? However that healing looks for you, Jupiter and Chiron are really going to take it and help you really go with it. Like start and do something. And then, of course, Saturn at 1 degree Pisces is going to be like, let's create some structure now. Let's make sure we stay consistent, right? He's going to see to it for the next 3 years that you really commit to that healing practice and that you really lean into that. And I think the Chiron Jupiter conjunction happening pretty much at the same time as Saturn entering into Pisces, they really are like hand in hand best friends of like getting you moving into the right path and realm that works for you and letting go of the stuff that hasn't worked in the past, right? Maybe you've been seeing a therapist for a couple years and you've gotten okay results, but really just not the deep healing you're looking for. I feel like this is a time where you would really benefit from making a shift into something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I was just thinking about also when I mean we all have Chiron somewhere in our chart natally. So we have these early childhood wounds that needs to be healed during a lifetime, but sometimes they're very hidden because we learned how to hide them. Because of course it's hard energy and we don't want to think about that all the time. We want to have a fun life. Right. So we hide them, and then it might take something like this when Chiron is conjunct Jupiter and just blows it up.
Yeah.
For all of the stuff to really come to the surface, which is hard, but that is when you have the chance really to scoop scoop stuff out when it rises to the surface, and you can just scoop out the shit pretty much.
Exactly. You know? It's like it's almost like you're dredging up the bottom of the river where you kind of hit a bunch of stuff and now all of that stuff is floating to the top and you've got to deal with it. I find it interesting. I had just looked this up to see when it happened last. The last time there was a conjunction between Jupiter and Chiron was 14 years ago in the sign of Aquarius. Now, my brain just made a realization that my son my firstborn son has this placement, and he has it in Aquarius in his 7th house. And now I'm about to have my last child who will also have this placement in a different sign. So I find that very intriguing and very interesting. And like my brain wants to dig way deeper into that now, knowing that like the end caps of my children both have this placement. One in the weirdo Aquarian sign, which I fully love and embrace. And then of course, one in the Aries sign, which is me and my husband's sun and moon. So very interesting energy to really kind of lean into that too, and see how that affects you on a deep level, right? So what kind of energy did I need to heal with the first child? And now what kind of energy is showing up for me to heal with this last child, right? Like that's how I'm interpreting this in my own specific chart. So how does that show up for you in your chart, right? Take a look at your chart and see where Aries is and how that looks for you, because it's going to be similar but show up differently than it did 14 years ago. So check out, and take a look at what was going on in your life in 2009 and see how you've grown in the last 14 years. Because it's probably been a big healing journey the last 14 years that you didn't even realize you were on. Woohoo!
Wow. And now we're here again. Well, one thing is with Jupiter and Chiron conjunct is that you can't hide. You can't hide whatever it is that you need to heal. So being born with that natally I think that's a gift, because you can't hide from it. So that means you just have to deal with it from an early stage, and that means that you will heal it even the better, right?
Yeah. I feel like Jupiter, wherever Jupiter shows up in your chart, it doesn't mean things don't go wrong. It doesn't mean you don't have bad times or hard times in that area. It just means that when you do experience challenging situations, it feels like the answer shows up easily, or like there's just kind of a solution. Like, let's say you have a flat tire and then maybe somebody shows up right behind you who happens to, know how to change your tire for you, right? Like there's just kind of this benevolent energy that just shows up right after the thing that quote unquote went wrong, right? So it's very interesting to see where Jupiter is in people's charts and how it shows up. And I love it in Aries because this is really not only are you going to reflect on the last 14 years, but this is where you want to break out of your comfort zone and take on new challenges and new adventures. And, be more open to learning and self-improvement, because that's what Jupiter's all about. And then be willing, again, like I explained, to seek new opportunities for that personal growth and development. Maybe do things you've never considered doing before. Maybe you're going to do personal growth and development work and you're like, I really need to know my birth chart, or I really need to know what my human design is, or I need to do some past life regressions, right? Like stuff you've never ever dove into or tried out, but you've been like maybe astro curious, right? So this would be such a great time for you to embody that during this spring equinox time frame.
Definitely. And also because the moon and Neptune, they're also conjunct. They're just 5 degrees apart. And so with the moon and Neptune, both of them are like they're water planets, and they're very emotional, and they take you on a spiritual journey. Like them two together, your feelings and your intuition in the sign of Pisces.
Yeah.
At the same time as we have that fire Chiron thing going on. So you get super triggered. Wow, this is your trigger from the past. Heal it. Yep. And then you have Neptune moon, like really lighting up your intuition and just telling you how to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see
this is good timing.
It really is. I see really deep creativity happening for this moon Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Like this is a big deal for taking action on creative projects that light you up and make you feel good and light up your self-esteem. And maybe you've been really wanting to become a painter or an illustrator, or take on a new project like that, but you just haven't started it. Like the spring equinox would be an amazing time to do that, because emotionally and intuitively you'll be so tuned in to what that thing may look like or needs to manifest into, right? Whether you start watercolor painting some, greeting cards for people, or you start doing whatever. I mean, the amount of hobbies that are out there is unbelievable, right? Pick up a hobby. I don't care which one. But as you're in that space, your emotions will flow smoothly. Your intuition will be like dialed in more intensely, and you'll be able to really understand intuitively what your needs are to be doing this healing work and to be doing this spiritual connection stuff and getting into the woo-woo, right? What does that look like for you? And the spring equinox, man, the 20th and 21st of March is just such a beautiful 2 days to be really leaning into this and really exploring that.
And you see also, we also have Pluto sextiling the moon, Neptune, and the sun.
Oh, yeah.
At this day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can be sure that Pluto is working with that deep dive with Neptune and the moon, and also with the fire sun in Aries.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And Pluto will still be in Capricorn at that time, just barely hanging on. It'll be a couple more days, and then he's going to make his trek, his first couple steps into Aquarius. But on the equinox, he will still be anchoring us into that Capricorn energy for just a smidge longer. And I think we need that, because the only other option is the Uranus over there in Taurus. And well, Uranus isn't really the best anchor. It's a very spontaneously changing one, and a little chaotic at times, and a little electrified.
So Pluto is actually on the anaretic degree, the last is this the last sort of degree of the sign. And from what I've heard is that the last when a planet is on the last degree, things really happen, like shit goes down. So I'm wondering also, with this, Pluto has been in Capricorn for so long, 30 years.
Yep.
Has it been 30 years?
It's like 20 something. I know that.
That's a long time. And now it's on the analytic degree of Capricorn. So whatever that Pluto has been moving through and changing and rebirthing in Capricorn, all of that stability and money stuff, I think we're going to see a lot of things happening at this last degree as well. Like a lot of those things being tied up, or like, oof, what that's interesting to see what's going to happen then with that.
It is. I'm very curious. Yeah, that 29-degree energy is in astrology land is definitely a very potent number, a potent time for that energy to come out. And it's I'm still learning about it for sure. And I'm always curious, reading articles, anything I can find. But I'm very curious about this March energy. There's just so much happening in March. It's kind of crazy.
There is. I mean, we also have Aries. We also have Mars, which belongs in Aries, and is on this date squaring the Sun, Neptune, and the Moon as well.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit of a more like tougher
and Mercury.
Energy.
And Mercury. So Mercury, Sun, Neptune, and Moon all square to Mars in Gemini at 27 degrees. So those square energies are tough. They create this tension, right? There's this frustration or this irritability that builds with a square. It's almost like you're just having, for me, we use a hose a lot in summer, and we are pulling the hose through the yard and watering plants. And when a kink gets in the hose and your water stops, either shuts off or starts trickling, it's just frankly quite irritating, because then you got to set the hose down. You got to go find the kink. You got to undo the kink. And sometimes the hose doesn't want to unkink. And like, that's the energy I feel with these squares. That your hose has a kink in it. The water's still trickling out. It still is coming. It's just this annoyance that you kind of have to deal with, right? And let's say I can't find the kink, or let's say this hose is just permanently kinked, which a lot of us have in our birth chart, right? We have to build this resilience and this awareness and this tolerance around this kink. We just have to kind of recognize, well, if we're going to use this hose, the water's not going to flow. So we need more time, or we need more space, or we need to water it more often, or, whatever the scenario is. So Mars is going to be in Gemini. Like, that's all the people and the communication and the talking and the chatting and the networking, right? And that's going to be square to all of this Pisces energy. And then these two planets, Mercury and Sun, in Aries. So Mars he's not going to be very friendly that day. It's going to cause some irritation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with that, so much Aries energy, and then the square from all those Aries planets to Mars, that can get a little hostile.
Little bitey, little fighty.
A little bitey. I mean, it's squaring the planet of communications, which is already in Aries then. So I feel like this can also be a day when you probably feel like picking a fight with someone and just getting real verbal. Yeah, absolutely. Really loud. I should be careful on this day. With my Aries Sun and my Gemini Moon, I just have to be real cautious when these energies happen, because Lord knows I get a bitey tongue. I get really heated. I just get hot fast. It's something I recognize about myself and accept about myself. So how I personally plan to deal with this energy is to really lean into the Pisces realm and the creative realm and throw myself into my art. That will channel the energy of irritation, or the energy of, maybe wanting to control things. Mars is a good one for wanting to control. And of course, Aries just likes to be a putz and just cause problems, right? Like, Aries thinks it's fun to stir the pot and run away, or like they don't mind causing conflict. Like, they just don't.
So I feel like for me, the best way to deal with this is to really pour myself into this creative space and the quiet space of Pisces and enjoy the moon and Neptune and Saturn, because that's where I feel like safety is for me personally. That's where I can be the safest with my mouth and my energy so that I don't try to control or get combative. That's probably what I'll be doing. I'll plan art days that day for those
Yeah,
2 days.
I think that sounds like a good plan, because yeah, all Pisces holds the moon at that time, and that's our need, our emotional need, and to stay in that safe zone of Pisces, it sounds good. I mean, if you feel like you're getting bitey, then you probably need to really exhaust yourself physically, because that's what
Yeah.
Aries wants. Just go for a run, go for whatever that makes you sweat, and then go back home and do your art and just
Oh, someone just said swimming would be good. In my head, I heard swimming. Think of
yeah.
the energy of swimming, right? So Pisces is a water sign, and then Aries is fire. So if you're feeling hot and fiery, go get in the water, right? Go to
Cool down.
go to a gym, go to wherever there's a pool and get in the water. You know, even if you just take a bath, that'd probably be a great day to do that. Get your get your fire under control.
Yeah, it's almost like I hear that psh when
Yeah,
when you
I love it. For
yeah.
real. For real. So this will be the kickoff season to a really interesting couple months while Pluto treks into Aquarius and while Saturn really kind of gets its feet wet into Pisces. And so the spring equinox is I feel like it's a big one this year. Some spring equinoxes are like, oh, okay. This one feels extra large, probably because Jupiter's there, really. I mean, Jupiter hasn't been in Aries for 12 years. So that's a big deal, you know.
It is, yeah. Do you usually, but do you have like do you even notice what, like, is this a date where you usually do something?
I
Like,
personally, yeah, I do like more private, more like myself. Like I honor it myself, and my kids and stuff do a little bit with us where we just kind of celebrate the coming of spring with maybe we get a bouquet of flowers, or maybe we plant seeds that day, or do some gardening work or something. There's usually something around planting and germinating and springtime action, whether, and even if we don't start seeds or do that, I usually will get a plant, or I'll play around with my house plants a lot. I'll repot them, and like I really do a lot of kind of just freshening up of stuff and make it a point to do that during that time for sure.
yeah,
I don't like
yeah.
have a party or anything though.
No. I mean, in Sweden, but this doesn't happen on the spring equinox, but it happens in the same month. We have like a national holiday where we welcome back the light, and people have huge bonfires. And I mean, now no one thinks about it. They just go to the bonfire and get drunk and see
Right.
their friends.
Right.
But I feel like it's a really, really beautiful tradition.
Yeah.
Like you get all of the wood from the forest that is dead and that has shown up after the winter.
Okay.
You take all of the old dead wood, you make a huge pile and just burn up all of the old stuff.
I love
So
that.
that, yeah, and like welcome all the new sprouting seeds in the ground, and welcoming back the light with that big fire. And it just feels like such a nice thing, like to let go and just restart.
For sure. I love that. I love implementing the fire ritual. That sounds fun. I want to do that.
And it's fun because it's always a huge bonfire as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah,
who
you
doesn't
can't
like
do
playing
little.
with fire?
It's Aries. You can't go small. Come on.
No.
You've got to have something big and dramatic because
Mm.
that's just how Aries rolls. I love
Mm.
that. But we've got Venus and Neptune and Uranus in Taurus that day. And then the North Node is at 4 degrees as well as Venus. So we've got some spiritual inclination with relationships and with money and with how we connect with people. And in that sign of Taurus of maybe I just want to sit on the couch and just watch a movie, right? Like that might be a thing for you too. So if you're leaning into that Taurus and Pisces energy, you may not want to go out and do a bonfire. You may want to be internal and introspective. But if you're really feeling that Aries fire, by all means, go burn something. Appropriately, of course. Don't be burning stuff you're not supposed to be, but so what do you think about that North Node and Venus conjunction that day?
Oh, that got my brain spinning. I got really interested to see like your chart and my chart with this chart and like to
Oh
see
yeah.
what's up because I was like, I wonder how this is gonna affect my chart. Should we pull our charts in and just take a look at and
Yeah,
this
why
is
not?
yeah, and if you haven't seen your own chart, you should go to, for example, astro.com and you just put in your birth day, your birth time, and your birthplace, and you get to see your astro chart.
Yep.
And within that site, you can do the same as we're going to do now. Like you can take any date and sort of set it next to your birth chart, and you will see how the planets in the sky are affecting your natal planets, which
Yeah.
is really interesting.
Yeah,
And just,
I'm pulling yours up right now. I'm curious to see how
I'm
this
a little
shows up for
scared.
you.
Yeah.
You're a little scared.
I'm a little scared because I haven't been looking at charts for the future, the synastry to my chart
No?
for a while. No.
I go in spurts. Every once in a while I'll do a whole bunch of looking at charts and then I set it down for a little bit.
Okay.
So, we've
Yeah.
got for you. All right. So all of this is going to be hanging out. You've got such crazy first and seventh houses. Oh my gosh.
I do because I'm in the northern hemisphere and I was born late. So in the
There's
Campanus house system, my
they're
houses are
huge.
just
They're
huge. Some of the
huge.
houses, yeah.
So all of this will be going through your first house. First house
That's
energy.
right.
So
Yeah.
you are really changing and leaning into how you show up in the world and how people view you. That's a lot of first house energy. Like they'll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and the North Node. 9 things and the 9 planets in the North Node will all be in your first house.
Mm.
Hey, you're gonna
Wow.
like completely shift who you are. That's so interesting.
That is crazy. There's so much in my first house, and yeah,
Do you feel
goodness
like
me.
you're seeing or feeling a shift of how
Ah,
you show up in the world? I mean, we've been doing a podcast for a while, so that's one thing.
yeah, and I've had Pluto and Saturn and Neptune and Jupiter here for a while, as well as some other planets. So it's hard to say like when it started, when that
Right.
feeling started. But yeah, for sure. And I especially now I have a huge urge to shift
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
good. So that's on point then. Good.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
It really is. It
Yeah.
really is. It's so intriguing to look at, well, just how big your first house is, but also you've got 3 intercepted signs, Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries, all in your first house. And this is, I think, an opportunity for you to really learn how to be in these energies, like really learn how to experience these energies in a way that maybe you didn't get to in the past or when you were younger. So now you have this opportunity to really feel these intercepted signs for you and get activated there.
Mm, for sure, for sure. Because I have yeah, like I have my North Node is in Pisces and
Mhm.
it's intercepted. So
Yep.
it's hard to reach that. But then with Saturn going in there and when Neptune's still there,
Yep.
and it gives me that extra energy to really dive into those things.
Yeah, I feel like in the next year and a half or so, when Saturn comes over your North Node, your spiritual pull, your pull to really dig into more and more of all of the esoteric, all of the metaphysical, all of that realm. Saturn's going to really help you lean into that North Node as you kind of mature and grow into this Pisces energy, which is what Saturn wants you to do. So you're probably going to notice an interest in, just more spiritual stuff, whether you're taking more classes or reading more books or, doing more meditation practices or whatever, right? That's whatever calls to you from that Pisces realm. Maybe you get more artistic. Maybe you create a new art studio in your house and take on new art stuff, right? Who knows?
So. And my natal Mars is at 5 degrees, and that is
Yep.
Almost conjunct the sun for spring equinox. And so I feel like my Mars in Aries is gonna really light up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's
your
exciting.
drive.
So that's all of my drive. I like that. So I feel like the projects I have bubbling, I should really sort of try and make sure that comes out or like begins.
Yeah.
For this time.
Yeah.
When my
I
Mars
agree.
is lit up. Yeah.
I agree. I think that's a great time for you to really hone in on what it is you really want to put your energy and take action on. What do you want to put that energy into? And how does that look to take action on that? But your Mars is also square to Saturn, your natal Saturn. So be careful there.
Yeah.
when you've got a Mars and a Saturn square to each other, there takes an incredible amount of maturity to not fight, right? Saturn is the restrictive planet and Mars is the I want to do what I want to do. So when you have them square to each other, again, that tension is within you. So you have to create this awareness and this maturity that this is there and that you may want to take action on things, but Saturn goes, well, are you sure about that? Are you being responsible? Do you have enough money? Have you prepped for this? Is this the mature thing to do? Right? Like he's the one who makes sure you're not just leaping out of the plane without your parachute attached, which is great. Thank you, Saturn. However, he sometimes can get a little too restrictive. And he can be a little too disciplined and authoritative and not let your Mars play the way it needs to. So with the sun there in, the first part of Aries, you're going to feel it lit up where you're going to really want to play. You're going to want to take action and do stuff. So when Saturn creeps in and starts judging you, you can go, okay, thank you for your concern. I got this. I'm good. Thank you. I think that's probably something you're going to be feeling for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel all of that what you said.
Yeah. You're so good with Saturn there conjunct or square to your Mars. You're so good at judging yourself for the actions you take when it comes to playing and having fun. And
oh my God, that is
so good at judging yourself. Yeah. That's like your superpower.
Oh, how that gets in the way.
It does, because it does hold you back from doing the things that would create more joy and more play and more childlike Aries energy. Because Saturn is he's so restrictive. And I get this with my Saturn in the 5th house of children. I'm definitely the authoritarian when it comes to my children. And sometimes I have to remind myself to lighten up. Lighten up and play. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I think you might be feeling the Mars energy more this spring equinox as it is warmed up by that sun. And then, of course, Jupiter in Aries as well. You're going to really kind of be supported with your fun play. And Saturn will be hopefully a little quieter and muted for you.
Yeah, I'm going to make Saturn my friend.
Yeah. Isn't that what we have to do, though?
That really is what we have to do. Yeah.
To heal our karma and really not take this karmic crap with us and come back and do it again. I don't want to come back and do this again. I'd like to move on to a planet where we don't destroy it. like to go somewhere where it's a little bit healthier. And in order to do that, we really have to lean into our karmic crap and heal that and not keep carrying the baggage around with us, you know?
Mm, for sure. Should we take a look at yours? Are you intrigued to see?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I am
And
intrigued.
this is close to the time when you're going to give birth as well.
Yes. So
So
this
this
will
is
be
really a new beginning for
for
you.
real. For real. So
Yeah.
yeah, not only is it that time, but it's also right before my birthday. It's just 9 days before my birthday. So my chart is already being lit up right now, just before March starts here when we're recording it. So there's just a lot happening in that Aries Pisces realm, which is where my Mercury is, where my sun is, and it's opposite 3 planets I have in Libra. So I'm being really activated when it comes to my Libra planets, which 2 of them are in the 5th house of children. So, there's that. Jupiter in Aries, opposite Mars and Saturn in the 5th house in Libra. Well, I'm quite large, right? Physically large, Jupiter in Aries, and it's opposite this house of children and my hard work and my drive and ambition in the house of children and play. So, and I'm literally about to give birth right around this time. So that's quite amusing.
It is. Is it 2 weeks off or?
So we're due April 14th. I doubt this little bub's gonna stay in there that long. There's too much activity.
Yeah.
This one wants out. So I doubt it will be that long, but it's close, so if we're looking at the 20th, 21st of March, and then we birth 3 weeks later. So whew, lots of stuff. So for me, Mars will be just past my rising sign and really entering and fully engulfed in my 1st house. So we'll have that Mars square to all those planets in Pisces and Aries there. That's going to be a 1st house energy for me and an 11th house energy. So how I show up is going to be square to me forming my community and connecting with people and being in that humanitarian energy. So I definitely feel that because Mars is really focused and 1st house is focused on the I or the self. And at this time, I'm really going to need to be critically aware of self-care.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be how that shows up for me, is making sure there's a balance between how much I'm putting out into the world, 11th house, how I'm connecting with people, and how much I'm taking care of myself. There'll definitely be a tension there because I can feel all of this growth and this expansion within my business and with what I'm doing and helping people and all of this Aries, Jupiter, everything, right? Going over my sun sign and all of this energy. And at the same time, I have to be very kind with myself and very gentle and take downtime and shut off from work and not connect with people and go take a bath. And that's not as much fun.
No, and at the same time, I mean, yeah, you have your 11th house lit up by all of these planets, and it's the house of your own sun as well, so it's really, really, really lit up.
Yeah.
And what you said, community, all of that, and you're gonna give birth, so there's that pull, and you have Saturn and the Moon in your 10th house at that time, so
Yeah.
you're really gonna have to find a way to and work hard, I guess, on that balance.
For sure. Yeah, on that healing, the Pisces healing energy. At that day, Neptune will be exactly conjunct my Mercury. So not only will Saturn be
Wow.
going through my 10th house of contribution to society and how I show up to as in a career and what my purpose is, right? So that's what Saturn is making me do, is be very, very structured and reliable and dependent and work hard with how I'm doing career and helping to put energy out. And then at the same time, I really have to be mindful because it is in Pisces and healing. And I do need to be really hyper tuned into what spirit is saying to me with Neptune right on top of my Mercury. And that
Mm.
will also be square to my natal Neptune. So we've got a lot of intuitive stuff happening with my mind sardined right between it. It's like a Neptune sandwich. Is that a thing?
It is now.
Neptune
I was gonna
Mercury
say that
sandwich.
this is like everyone who's listening get a reading with Laura at this date
Right?
because you have that Neptune Mercury. But at the same time, you're supposed to not work so much around this time, right?
Right. So I think again, there's that healthy balance and with all of this stuff opposite my Libra energies, it's really about learning how to be in balance, learning how to have that healthy balance.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, this is interesting to look at how this spring equinox is going to be affecting us personally and
Mm.
affecting society and all of the just interesting energy showing up right now. I was listening to a couple other astrology podcasts because that's what we do. we, we listen and read about astrology like all the time. I frequently will fall asleep reading astrology articles on my phone. I'm not proud of it, but I do. I just do. It's something that works for me, right? So I've been just learning so much, anything I can. I'm just taking in all of the information, and I love hearing the other astrologers' interpretations of things and the way they explain it, and it just gives you a different flavor. So,
Mm.
if you're listening and you're like, "Oh, I love this, but I want more information." There's so much out there. Like, please listen to other people and read other articles, because I think the more you learn about this and the more you learn about how it affects you, the more you can really live in your own dharma, what you're here to do, right? You can really do your mission and your path that is unique to you.
Mm. For
That's
sure.
my
And
that's my spiel.
yeah, no, that's great because also the energies can show up, can manifest in so many different ways. So we've been saying these things like it's great to begin new things and go for a swim, go make art, but and that's for Pisces, but there's many other ways to read that as well. So the energy will be there for us globally, and whichever astrologer explains it, will explain the same energy but using probably different words.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. I was doing a little 101 class for my group I have on Facebook, my private group. And I was just kind of explaining astrology. And I said, it's a science that's an art, right? Just like a museum curator is going to look at paintings and she's going to go, oh, this is this style from this artist and this is the interpretation. Like, my brain does not know how to interpret art like that. I don't know how to read art like that. I know how to read astrology and read that energy, but I don't know how to read art the way some people can, right? And that's the same thing I same way I view astrology is there is this general rule and this general kind of code, but then it's so open to interpretation. And that's the art part of it, right?
Mm.
So that was how I was explaining it the other day, and that felt like good to me. It's like a scientific art.
It is. It is for sure.
I like that.
Yeah. So are you looking
Any
forward
other?
to the equinox?
I am. And I was gonna say, do you have any other like words of wisdom for people for as this new year shows up that we just
Mm.
determined is the new year?
No, I just feel like bring on the fire
Yeah.
and but be safe. I mean, everyone's gonna feel all of that Aries energy, like, and there will be so many planet in that sign of fire. So yeah, just try and be in that fire, but also use that safe space of Pisces.
Yeah, use your intuition. Your
Mm.
intuition will be activated that day. And I don't think there are enough people or practitioners or just any doctors, anything. I don't think there's enough people that talk about humans and their intuitive skills and talents. Like we are very intuitive beings, and it's not something that is taught to us in schools or anything like that. And I encourage you to really dive into your intuition. And it's not your heart and it's not your stomach, it's just above. So it's called your solar plexus, is basically the start of the body when it gets formed. And it's the center of the body that gets formed when you're first made as a little bitty baby. And it's the part of us that's the gut feeling. We just know something, but we don't know how we know it. We don't know why we know it. And that's what we need to tune into, because it's going to be very, very active during this time. And use it, because your gut instinct, your gut intuition, your gut feeling is not wrong. And it works so well for you and your needs. May not be what's right for your neighbor or your mom or your sister, but it's right for you. So I think that's my words of advice during this equinox is, yes, enjoy the Aries, enjoy that freshness, take action on something. If you're wondering what to take action on, tune into your gut, tune into your intuition. It will tell you for sure. And if you don't know, come talk to me, because my mind will tell you. That will be
great.
Active. And it is very active, which is very interesting. But yeah, that'll be an active time for me with that intuitive stuff. So I'll probably be leaning into a lot of spiritual practices, a lot more meditations, a lot more connecting with all of the woo-woo that we can't see and touch. So that'll be my homework, and I do that best through art. So I'll probably be doing paintings and stuff.
Yeah, that's where we'll find you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right.
Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoy your equinox. If you have any questions or would like a reading, you can reach us at RamGoatAstrology@gmail.com, and we will get you hooked up with our new booking system we're working on, and we're getting all professional here. So if you have anything you'd like to chat about or be on the show, or any questions for us, we would be happy to hear from you. Thank you so much. And feel free to like and share this with your friends that you know would find this interesting as well. We always appreciate that.
The Astro Curious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Take care, everybody.
Bye.